Me and L got into it. You know, I told L, I knock you out. He started using a few of my lyrics, like different compounds that I was using. That's when you make two words rap at the same time. Me and L start talking. The conversation goes super left, you know. Next thing I know, I'm in a tunnel. It was like a week later we found out that it was Big L. And I know niggas get mad when you tell these stories, but it's the truth. I'm not lying. I gotta take a lie detector test. I gotta go back to the first time.
Let me tell you about Big L. This is what Big L did to me. I'm hanging in the studio with Mase.
Big L's rise was like a rocket shooting out of Harlem. But the same streets that birthed his talent held him in a chokehold he couldn't escape. He was tied to a crew called NFL, led by his older brother Big Lee. And that connection dragged him straight into real-life street tension. One of the biggest whispers back then? A brewing beef between him and Mase. Fast forward to 2024, and Mase finally spoke on their troubled history during It Is What It Is podcast. But this wasn't just about two Harlem kids who crossed paths. They were both soldiers in the iconic group Children of the Corn, rolling deep with Cameron, Bloodshed, and Herb McGroth. That crew had Harlem buzzing in '93. But even in that lineup, Big L stood out. He wasn't just rapping. He was carving up mixtapes with raw, unfiltered wordplay that had the underground going crazy. By 1995, he dropped Lifestyle as OV to Poor and Dangerous, a debut that instantly crowned him as one of Harlem's most lethal lyricists. The streets embraced it, critics gave their nod, and Big L was suddenly untouchable. Meanwhile, Mase took a sharp turn. By '96, he had signed to Bad Boy Records and skyrocketed into superstardom, flashing diamonds, dragging mink coats, and living that glossy, shiny suit fantasy. But with all that glimmer came tension, and things between him and Big L started shifting. Harlem pride slowly turned into Harlem rivalry, and the bond they once shared cracked wide open. Mase wasn't clueless. He heard the streets talking. Whispers kept circling that Big L's style was all over his flow. And
Well, we got on, it was like L. You know, he was a guy, he took us everywhere.
Yep.
You know, all of that. Not everywhere, but to Bobito and different places to rap. And then when I got on, it was like the whole wave changed. It was like, this is what it looks like when a nigga really get on.
Harlem. Folks swore that L's razor-sharp punchlines and twisted rhyme patterns had somehow crept into Mase's verses, almost like L's spirit was guiding his pen. The chatter got louder. People said Mase was dipping into L's playbook, borrowing his signature moves. And that kind of talk didn't just stay confined to barbershops. It spread fast, turning a quiet rivalry into something raw, personal, and impossible to ignore. Harlem could feel the tension. The streets were buzzing. And deep down, Mase felt it too. According to Mase, that clashed in.
So me and L would get into it. And one time, because you want me to tell a story, so I got to tell a story. He started using a few of my lyrics, like different compounds that I was using. That's when you make two words rap at the same time. So I checked the nigga.
Not just words, syllables.
Yeah, syllables. He started using my syllables. I'm like, yo, L. So then Gruff laughing and all that. Gruff like, y'all need the fox, you know?
Gruff is like a mother. Gruff, that boy Gruff not aggressive. Yeah.
L looking like what?
Name of the handshake or any kind of peace. It ended in pure tension. Conversation started going sideways. Egos took hits, and instead of cooling off, the heat only turned up. And Big L? He wasn't the type to eat his pride or let another Harlem MC throw shade without firing back. So the stage was set. L made it crystal clear. He wasn't letting it slide. Then he made a move that had Harlem buzzing. He called in backup. And not just anyone. Word was, he linked up with Bronx heavyweight Fat Joe, the force behind the legendary Diggin' the Crates crew, better known as DITC. That shook the streets, because Joe wasn't just a rapper. He had presence, influence, and when he moved, the culture watched. Mase described the moment like it was burned into his mind. The tension, the faces, the energy hanging in the air. This wasn't just rap beef anymore. It felt like Harlem was going head-to-head with the Bronx, and everyone could feel something big was about to erupt. But here's the twist. That wouldn't be the last time Big L and Mase crossed paths in ways that had everybody watching. Mase recounted an encounter so intense.
So then me and L start talking. The conversation goes super left, you know. And then next thing I know, I'm in a tunnel, and then nigga Fat Joe comes up.
So hold on for people. Not a tunnel. That's a nightclub.
Yeah, the nightclub, the tunnel.
Right.
So Joe come up to me. I'm looking like, and then Joe see me, and Joe's like, "Man, I ain't doing nothing to that. That's Mase." You know what I'm saying? That's something y'all got going on.
Right.
So that was
That's first, but hold on.
that was the first time.
But hold on, just so the audience stays on top.
Yeah,
Big L and Fat Joe was kind of in a clique together, Lord Finesse and Buck
digging
Island,
in the crates.
digging in the crate. So
Yeah,
it may have been something alluding to that, just for the audience that doesn't know why Fat Joe would randomly.
yeah. So then he's running with Fat Joe. You know, he called him nigga. First he tried to talk to Party and them, but I knew Party in him. I knew Party Artie. That was my nigga.
Yeah, Party Artie. I think Party died, right?
Yeah, he died.
Party was nice. Party was nice.
In the Wally world.
Yeah,
He didn't know I knew them from basketball, so it wasn't gonna go no further.
Stopped the block cold. He was back in Harlem, kicking it with his childhood friend, God Shamgod. Yeah, that Shamgod, the one who broke ankles in the NBA with his legendary crossover and later became an assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks. They were just out there on a normal Harlem day, chilling, until everything flipped in an instant. A robbery popped off right in front of them, shifting the whole energy. Harlem wasn't new to crime, but seeing it explode that close hit different, made the moment 10 times more real. Mase said he kept calm, no panic, just sharp, calculated thinking. Fast forward a couple months, and he and Sham were walking to the block again, this time near 40th Street. They had just grabbed ices after paying for the ice cream truck, handing out free cones to kids on 139th rocking Mase Day t-shirts. It was love all around. Then it happened. Mase, wearing his first ever iced out Rolex, turned the corner, and out of nowhere, a dude ran up yelling, "Give it up or I'll kill both of y'all." Mase and Sham froze. At first, Sham thought Mase was playing. He joked a lot, but the look in Mase's eyes said it was real. They exchanged silent communication, the kind only close friends or ball players could share. Mase was like, "Don't leave me," and Sham's look was like, "Stop playing." But once the gun cocked, playtime was over. Mase knew he had to move smart. He took off the Rolex and casually dropped it near a car tire, like bait. Then boom, he took off running, and Sham was right behind him, both sprinting like their lives were on the line. Just when it looked like things could turn deadly, fate stepped in. Police were already nearby and swooped in just as the stick-up kid was about to grab the watch. He never made it. Cops grabbed him before he could even react. Mase got his watch back, joked with Sham later, but deep down, it stuck with him. Then came the real twist, the part that hit Mase sideways. A week later, his phone started blowing up, calls from guys inside. Locked up, dudes who crossed paths with the same stick-up kid. And what they told him, jaw-dropping. Apparently, during a brutal beatdown in jail, the would-be robber cracked. Word on the street, he claimed Big L was the one who lined up the hit, set the whole robbery in motion. That flipped everything. Mase was stunned, hurt. He said that was the moment Big L got scratched off his top 5 list. And from that day, things felt different in the hood. Mase noticed L was no longer standing on their usual side of 139th. He started chilling across the street. No one else really knew why, but Mase did. And while some people might get mad hearing that story, he stood by it. They can take a lie detector test, he said. He wasn't lying. Think about it. Not just a robbery gone wrong, but rumors that Harlem's lyrical assassin might have been calling shots behind the curtain. For Mase, that wasn't just noise. That was betrayal, the kind that made people stop, side-eye, and whisper. Then came Fat Joe, and instead of ducking the rumors, he leaned straight into them. In an interview, Joe revealed he always felt something was off. He said Big L hit him up at the tunnel, saying something serious was going down and he needed backup. And since they were family through the Digging in the Crates crew, Joe pulled up deep, ready for whatever. But when he got there, he knew something was wrong. The vibe? Way off. Joe had just been in the studio the night before with Mase, joking, vibing, having a good time. And now suddenly he was being asked to show up and ride out against that same guy? It all goes back to the same Harlem neighborhood, 139th Street, the birthplace of Children of the Corn. Everyone from that crew came up there, Mase, Cameron, Big L, the whole squad. Fat Joe recalled it vividly. He was in the studio with Mase, just hanging out, laughing, cracking jokes with the crew. It was all love, pure vibes. Then the next night, everything flipped. Joe was at the tunnel, deep as usual, 20 or 30 people rolling with him. That's when Big L pulled up, looking serious. "Yo, Crack, I need you," he said. Joe was like, "What's up?" You know L is like my little bro. But L just kept it vague, saying he had to holler at some people. The vibe was off. This wasn't regular rap beef energy. Joe could feel something bigger was brewing, like he was walking into a setup without even knowing it. And what made it even heavier, this wasn't just a rapper speaking. This was Fat Joe, a Bronx heavyweight, put his name on the line, hinting that Big L might have really been moving in the shadows. From that moment, Big L's name wasn't just ringing in rap circles. It was getting tied into street politics that felt way deeper than hip-hop. There was a Joker moment Joe shared too, when he pulled up to Baseline Studios and saw Mase and L together. They had grown up side by side, practically brothers. But Joe said the second he stood next to L, something shifted. Alarms were going off in his head. He felt like the biggest hypocrite in the room. Had just been chilling with Mase the night before, and now he was standing next to someone who may have been plotting against him. Joe didn't say it lightly. He admitted he felt like he was being used as a pawn in a way bigger game. And Harlem? Harlem was buzzing. Debates were flying in every barbershop, every block corner, every recording studio. Was Big L really orchestrating plays behind the scenes, or was his name just being dragged to the fire? For Mase, though, it was deeper than speculation. His safety was on the line, his loyalty was in question, and his rival was starting to look like someone willing to gamble with real lives. But here's the wild part. No one could prove a thing. All of it lived in that gray space between truth and street legend. Mase said he saw in Joe's face the moment trust broke. He never looked at me the same again, Mase recalled. Even though they spoke, the vibe was different. Joe's face said it all: disbelief, disappointment, betrayal. And the timing couldn't have been Messier. Big L was at the height of his underground dominance, earning respect from coast to coast as one of the fiercest lyricists out. Meanwhile, Mase was a polished face of bad boy, dripping in fame, money, and platinum plaques. They were on totally different paths, yet somehow kept colliding, like two trains heading for the same track. And in Harlem, tension never just fades. It waits for the next spark. When the smoke cleared, the city was split. Some said L was being wrongfully accused, the target of jealousy and gossip. Others, they were convinced he was pulling strings, playing chess in the shadows. But before the truth could surface, tragedy struck. In February 1999, Big L was gunned down, right there on 139th Street, in the heart of his own neighborhood. He was just 24. The news ripped through Harlem like lightning. Fans were stunned. The underground had lost its prince. Critics had called him a legend in the making, someone who could have stood toe-to-toe with the best to ever do it. But just like that, he was gone. And those whispers, they didn't die. They became part of his legacy. Was it street politics? Was it connected to old beefs? Or something darker? Nobody had answers, and that mystery only kept the rumors alive. For Mase, the loss hit different. Whatever beef lingered between them evaporated, replaced by the weight of what could have been. Harlem didn't just lose a rapper, it lost a future king. And the real twist? The same rumors that once painted L as the puppet master had people wondering, had the streets finally pulled the strings on him? Then there was Fat Joe. He showed up, ready to ride for L, no questions asked. But when the smoke settled, he realized he had walked right into Harlem's most personal and dangerous beef. The betrayal? Joe felt it in his gut. He hadn't signed up for this. He was just backing his DITC brother. But now it looked like he'd been playing both sides. And once that trust cracked, there was no going back. Joe later called it one of the dirtiest, ugliest situations he had ever been caught in. A night where friendship, loyalty, street politics, and rap beef all got tangled into one giant mess. And that line, once it was crossed, nothing was ever the same again. This story isn't done. In fact, it's just getting crazier. The secrets, the power moves, the betrayals. It's all stacking up. And what comes next might just flip Harlem history on its head. So if you're locked in with this story, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment, share this video, and smash that like button. Because what's coming next, you don't want to miss it.